Burn that damn roof off!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as it is Hump Day. It is a Remember Wednesday presented by Fayetteville Flyco, so we're going to have some fun with that here today. We'll also get into checking in with the chat, presented by Basis Health, do a little Who's Our Heavy Hitter, presented by HD Roofing and Construction, and get into some Hump Day headlines presented by our friends over at BetSaracen. But we'll have some football, basketball, baseball, all that good stuff and everything you guys want to talk about in the world happening here on Inside Arkansas Live. But fellas, how are the vibes here on this beautiful Wednesday here in Fayetteville?
The vibes are pretty good, man. I meant to bring this up yesterday, but we immediately started talking about the somber storms and everything like that. But I wasn't in a great mood going into the show. And then I realized you switched up the intro music on us again. And it was just perfect timing every single time you get me with that. So well done.
Good.
Had to make sure that I snuck that in there today. I almost surprised you guys and wore a hat today. I got my Long Island Ducks, but it's just been sitting underneath some things, and it's like it's not fitted appropriately yet, so I can't do it. But it's going to be broken out here soon. I feel like I got to join the hat club. I mean, you guys are doing it every day now, and I look weird. I feel like I'm alone on an island with my hair.
Well, you can't call me and John the Hat Club, because there is an actual hat club, and they're going to sue us if they find you saying their name.
Maybe so.
Yeah. And speaking of sets, this hat has been stuck in the back of my car for about a year, and finally decided to take it out the other day, wash it up, clean it up nice, and so glad to get it back in the rotation. But yeah, I like the intro music. Are y'all going to miss the no? You're not going to get that anymore.
A little bit.
I wouldn't say anymore, because I always have them in a rotator. It's the radio in me. You never delete or completely get rid of any of your old imaging. You always keep it around just in case. So it may make a comeback.
John kept his same music there at the Buzz for years.
Yeah,
song every day. It was
totally my choice by Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, my favorite song ever. So I'm glad that I have a little bit more say in that. But it is a little bit more difficult, because at least in radio, you guys could always play whatever you want. And music wise, YouTube and live stream stuff, they're not as kind. They're not as lenient when it comes to the licensed music. So what you see is what you get. So get over it. But I appreciate the shots, because one of these days, I think it was Kingsley yesterday was like, yeah, this ain't it. I'm like, okay, Kingsley, come on, man, just give me some credit here. But one of these days, it's going to be a song that's going to start, and you're going to go, I was in a great mood, but then I heard that song, and now I'm pissed. Like, you're just going to be like, yeah. Look, Kingsley coming in already saying that last intro was a slap. This one, it's cool. Come on now, Kingsley. I can't listen. Not all the greatest artist of all time can't have greatest hits every day. You got to have some songs.
Don't be afraid of change.
Got to play not the hits.
Yeah. I'm just what was it? Now that's what it's called, Music 82 or whatever they're on. Like, not every album can be those. All right. Sometimes you're just going to have some clunkers. It's okay. So, but we appreciate it though. Everybody tuning in with us, and going to have some fun, because we're going to get into a lot of different stuff today. And since it's a Remember Wednesday, I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about it, because yesterday, we mentioned about the Boogie Flan situation, him going to Florida, and then of course the audio from the Matt Norlander podcast talking about Adou Thiero got a lot of people up in arms and all that stuff. And I just started thinking about it as part of Remember When. You guys remember when it was a lot more clear cut, like just black and white, clear as crystal, as far as, hey, if a guy was going to go pro, or if he was not going to go pro. And just how the systems used to be when it came to not only that, but just everything when it comes to the college landscape. We could sit here talking all day about what's changed, but I was looking back at some of my memories on Facebook, which is always depressing because it's like 20 years ago and it really hits hard. Like my memories of Facebook is about to be able to legally drink. And I was looking at some of it, and looking at when I was really bummed that Ronnie Brewer was going pro. I was like, man, he announced it and there was no ifs, ands, buts, right? It's done. It's over with. And it's just funny to think back that there was a time where it was that clear. It was that, hey, this is it. There was no social media to really tell you. You had to read about it in the thing called the newspaper. It's just amazing how all of it has changed so much, of how what we're seeing and what we're dealing with, especially with Razorback basketball, has been different over the past just couple of years.
Yeah, it's wild times, man. For what it's worth, my Facebook memory today was the 9-year anniversary of my friendship on there with my wife.
Oh, cool.
but we've been together for 11 years.
Oh.
And I realized that I did the thing where I was like, social media is stupid. And I deleted Facebook and didn't have Twitter or anything for like a year and a half. And then I brought it back, and she might've been my first ad on there. I saw it today and I was like, wait, the math ain't math. And I forgot that I did that. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's crazy where we're at right now. And I get the sense like if the powers to be have it their way, it's not going to continue to be like this. But I mean, when you get to a point where you have legitimate first round draft picks who have a real dilemma, is, hey, do I go and, do I wind up going back and forth to the G League, even though I'm getting this guaranteed money when I can go make just as much or more for one more year in college? It's crazy that that's where we're at. And it happened quickly. I mean, these decisions weren't happening 2 years ago, but NIL is just taking off and taking off. It's, I brought it up before, but I think back to just a couple years ago when Nigel Pack hit the portal out of Kansas State, and he goes to Miami, and he was the first one where they're like, hey, this Life Wallet, like this is his actual NIL deal. It's 2 years, 400,000 per year. And we're like, wow, man, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. And that won't get you a 10th man now. It's unbelievable how that's happened. And yeah, it just muddies everything up. It absolutely does. You can poach off of other rosters. You can pull people out of the draft. Grown men who've been playing professionally for 3 or 4 years in Europe can just come over as 23-year-olds or whatever and play college basketball now. It's just insane, man. And it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, there's less clarity than ever in terms of just who's going to go and who's not. Like it used to be, like you said, pretty easy to predict of, hey, this guy's a junior. He's projected to go here. He's gone. This guy's a freshman. He's projected to go here. He's coming back. He's here. He's gone. Like you kind of knew. There's also less clarity in terms of just the timeline of how the offseason plays out. Usually by this point in the offseason with the NBA draft, less than a month away, everyone knows what their roster looks like. Everyone knows what everyone else's roster looks like. Most of those pieces on that roster are returning pieces. Y'all remember back in the day when we used to do the thing where we'd be like, oh, especially during football season, we'd be like, well, this team's got 18 returning starters. That means they're going to be really good. And now it's like a team could return 2 starters and be preseason number 1. And so it's like, it's kind of warped our brains as sports fans because we used to be able to contextualize this stuff very easily. There were less questions to sift through. We kind of just knew, and especially by this point in the offseason. And I think that's what kind of makes it fun. And I remember when the NBA first started aiming to be a 12-month sport where they were like, hey, our season's going to be these dates, but we're going to have free agency. We're going to have the draft. We're going to have trades. We're going to have summer league. We're going to have this. And they really aimed. And I remember people kind of thought that was stupid at the time. Now it's kind of played out that way where I remember, I have vivid memories as an NBA fan of waking up at midnight and seeing Kawhi Leonard get traded to the Clippers on that first day or whatever. It's it kind of does make it fun as a fan. I think college sports, we talk about the bad of NIL, and there certainly is plenty of it. And we've discussed it a lot on the show, but I actually do think this is cool. In general, the idea of we kind of are always paying attention to what's going on. There's always stakes in every, even yesterday, Kentucky lands a bigger crew. That felt like it had a lot of stakes. It felt like a big deal. Whereas before, there would be really 4 months as a college basketball fan where you could just turn off your brain and say, all right, I'll catch up with college basketball in October. You really can't do that these days. It really is a 12-month sport. And it's, for guys like us, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, no. And that's what I try to look at it from, pros and cons list. And it is a lot more interesting because just imagine, what it would be like right now where if it's just, the roster is the roster and it's finalized and you only had 1 or 2 players leave and that's it. Not to say that there wouldn't be some pros to that because hey, I know who's coming back. I know what to expect. I know all this. But as far as the intrigue and the excitement of change, because change always brings on a level of excitement and energy, there wouldn't be as much of that. But it's just, I think that people, and we've talked about this too, about how fans will always be like, well, this guy's not ready for the pros. He needs to stay another year. It was because that was almost like a mindset of fans and their way of whatever, just don't even let him think about saying he's going to go pro because the second he says it, it's done. It's over with. You have no chance of getting him back. And so I think people always try to utilize that and use that as hey, we don't want him to even get a sniff of it. We don't even want to think about it because it's over with. But now, I mean, for crying out loud, it's crazy how you can go to the NBA combine and still come back to college. I mean, that was not even thing. And I think it was good for the kids and good for the athletes to have that. So I'm not complaining about it. But just the ever changing of it's really hard for society, and in this case, fans and fans of schools and all that, to kind of keep up with it because it changes so quickly. And I think people's mentality and how they view it also has to change quickly, but that's not how human nature works. It's just like anything. So when you're talking about Pot at the Palace every day and you're saying, okay, this guy and then this might happen, this will be happening, this won't happen, anything like that, it's almost like people are like, okay, but yeah, you're moving too quick for us. Like, no, we need some time to let this part settle. And then we'll disagree with you. Like, and it's just, it can't, and I don't hate on it because I can be the same way. I'm just saying it's tough for a group of individuals, a group of people who all want one thing to keep up with how quickly things have changed in such a short matter of time.
Yeah, no, it's 100% true, man. And it's and it's just on steroids, like the off season now and portal season. It's high school recruitment on steroids, man. It's unbelievable how quickly this stuff moves. You got guys, committing without visiting schools, and they're on their way somewhere, and then one other place just ups the bag just enough, and they flip, in the matter of seconds. The whole thing is wild. But you're right about, it's kind of crazy that you can go and do the combine and everything like that. And I'm all for, testing the waters and, just figuring out like what your feedback is and everything. But I mean, these guys go through pro days and they can work out with all 30 NBA franchises, and they can go to the combine, and it's like a 2-month ordeal after the season, because of the withdrawal deadline is not until a week from today, that you as a program can be left in limbo. And so that's a tough thing for some of these teams out there, and people approach it differently. Like Arkansas, their approach right here, they're like, hey, we want Carter Knox back, so we're not going to go out and, sign a wing that would, maybe give him a reason to want to stay in the draft otherwise. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna complicate that. Like, hey, it's all yours. Come back to us. And if you don't, well, we'll tackle it from there. And the opposite approach is being taken elsewhere. Like some of these guys are in the, like Texas Tech, for example. As soon as Darion Williams, now he hit the portal too, I guess, but as soon as he declared for the draft, they went out and got a guy just like him. So it was like, all right, you can come back and play alongside this guy, and it'll be weird, but we're not going to wait for you for 6 weeks or whatever, dude. So every coaching staff handles this stuff a little bit differently, and I don't envy, like, you get paid handsomely. So like, I don't feel sorry for you, but I don't envy the position. I'm sure it's stressful, to say the least.
What I also think is fascinating in this is just the power that the players have is always a big topic, especially when you're talking about pro sports franchises and how they run things. Like that's always a battle. I mean, you literally have unions dedicated to making sure the players get their fair shake. And I think in the NBA, we've kind of realized, hey, maybe the players have too much power. We have these guys that are out on 6-year deals that are demanding trades and sitting out games or whatever. But I think in college basketball, as a player going through this process, you have so much more information than you ever did from everything. Whereas back in the day, we're talking about some of these decisions. A lot of these guys were kind of making these decisions, not really knowing how it would play out. But nowadays it's like, if Adou Thiero declares for the draft, he knows exactly what range he's getting selected in. He knows the specific teams. And I know there was some of that before, but, and the same goes for guys that want to come back from college. Like they know exactly what offers they have on the table everywhere. And so I think it's fascinating. And when you think about John Calipari and his role in this whole thing, because like you said, Curtis, some of these programs are handling it differently, and we'll see how it plays out. I mean, Cal could wind up not getting Knox or Adou Thiero back and then just kind of being stuck, and it's like, oh, wow, he really misplayed his hand. But what could also happen is Cal could be the one that kind of saw this ahead and was like, you know what? Let me make sure I don't piss off these guys. They come back to school. If Knox and Thiero both, which, by the way, that's very wishful thinking. We can talk about the possibility, but like if both those guys were to come back, I think we all would kind of step back and be like, whoa, maybe John Calipari like actually had an ace up his sleeve this whole time. Because I do think he does have a very good understanding for what these players want, how they operate, how to win some of these situations. We'll see if his, I don't know if you can call it a risk, but we'll see if his methodology plays out.
There's nothing I would love more than for us to be able to do the live stream with Thiero coming back and be able to do the Cal had it figured out the whole time.
We're sorry, Cal. We're sorry.
Nothing I would love more than that, man.
Yeah. And I look forward to it because it is going to be awesome. And let's hope it happens here soon. It'd be cool if it did. But I'm curious because I know we'll get to the chat, folks, and everything, but I'm curious for y'all. This made me think it could be any sport at Arkansas, but just what was the player that jumped to go pro that was the most shocking to you when you thought it was like guaranteed they're going to be coming back another year? Like, or at least one that you heard that he was coming back or whatever it is, but just one where you look back, you're like, geez, yeah, I felt for sure. And I'm not counting Isaiah Joe because that's different because he said he was coming back and then he didn't. Like, I'm not counting that. But as far as any players, because I'll give you just a couple of mine that first come to mind. I remember Olufamutimi doing that. I remember when he jumped after 2 years. I was like, all right, averaging 5 and 3. Good luck. I remember that. And honestly, too, I remember Michael Qualls kind of surprised me a little bit because he had a great year, but none of the projections really as far like some maybe had him as a late second, but none of them were like solid saying, hey, he's going to be an NBA draft pick. And I remember thinking, man, I thought he'd come back for another year. But those are just a couple that came to my mind where I remember being surprised that they ended up bouncing out when they still have eligibility left.
Qualls is a very interesting one because didn't he tear his ACL in a pre-draft workout?
Yeah.
That was a big, and obviously, he ended up playing pro ball for a while, playing overseas. That was a tough one because it's like, that was the ultimate, like, he made a move for him and, it was kind of controversial at the time. And then you tear your ACL in the thing and you obviously go undrafted then. I think that's a good what if moment because I think if you look back on it, he actually, was one of those guys that had a decent year, had obviously had some viral moments. I think if he hadn't torn his ACL, he probably would have gotten drafted. But it was just a gamble that just didn't pay off for an uncontrollable reason there.
I would say to a lesser degree, Aldis Toney.
Yeah,
that was an interest. Now I know why it happened. We might save that story for another day, but at the time, like he was very much in position to come back, and he would have been a preseason all SEC type of guy. He really would have. And when he entered the portal or not entered the portal, when he entered the draft, that one was a surprise to me. I was thinking Muss era. Because Moses wasn't, Jalen wasn't. Who else?
I mean, it felt like all three of the McDonald's All-American guys were going to go no matter what.
Yeah, all three of those guys were going to go.
Remember Patrick Beverley's situation? Did he get kicked off the team and then go?
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't really have a chance to come back, eh?
Right, yeah. Because that's the thing is, like, most of the guys that end up leaving, they, like Joe Johnson when he left, he's like, okay, yeah, we get it. It makes sense. Or Ronnie Brewer, he ended up being, I think he was 18th picked in the NBA draft that year. So Bobby Portis, same thing. Daniel Gafford, same thing. So, I mean, there's been more often examples of people making the right choice, but I was also just trying to think of in football too, if there was any major examples of that. Maybe Batman Carroll.
I tell you who screwed himself by coming back to Arkansas, Tyler Wilson.
Yeah.
If he could go back in time, he got some of the worst advice I think I've ever heard in my life. I mean, he was literally a guy that might have been a first-round pick as a junior in the shittiest quarterback class of all time. And then he was like, you know what? Let me run it back without my head coach and in a loaded quarterback class and see if I can do that.
Well, didn't he wasn't that back where because Petrino didn't get fired by that time, right? Like he was still.
Yeah, I guess he made that decision before. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
he did decide to come back with Petrino, but without all of his receivers.
Yeah. He loved the hog, he wanted to be a Razorback, but anyways, I don't know. I just thought about that.
Mallet was going to stay for a while. Do y'all remember there was some buzz with Mallet where it was like, obviously everyone kind of thought like, okay, yeah, he's a big, tall guy. Makes sense. There was like a month after the Sugar Bowl where I was like, Mallet, run it back. And he ended up going in the third round, which was lower. Like there was a point during that season we thought he was going first round. So that was an interesting one, but I don't remember if there's a big football one that like stunned me.
No. I mean, again, nothing that comes. Someone said Cameron Curl in the chat. I'm like, well, Cam Curl just wanted to leave that terrible situation with Chad Morris and all that stuff. So I was like, maybe no doubt that he wanted to leave. But either way, yeah, I'm sure that there are more examples. I'm sure people will let us know in the chat. But I was just curious on people's thoughts there. But yeah, as a Remember Wednesday, though, it's presented by our friends over at Fable Flyco. Go to fflyco.com. Use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your first purchase. Real quick, because I know we'll get into the chat. But a couple other Remember wins. Do you remember when Arkansas won the SEC baseball tournament? Real quick. What was your feeling on that? Was it excitement? Was it like, hey, that's cool, and then moved on? Or was it more of just like, I really don't care, just give me the postseason play?
I was pumped about it, man. Yeah, I was really excited about it when it happened, especially given who they beat to do it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not a guy who gets too hung up on the conference tournaments, but dang it, if you get to the finals, like win that thing. And if you don't, I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Yeah, that was the ultimate case of like, we were talking about on the show. If you get to the title game, you might as well win it. That was the ultimate example of that. And I think Dave even told the team, because, you go into the Hoover and you have your plan, you have your guys scheduled to throw, and then you get there under the lights and you're playing a team that you hate. You're playing a coach that you hate. Things change a little bit. I think Dave actually gave somewhat of a speech before the game to the team where he was like, hey, you guys have grinded all year. You have battled for us. We're here. He's like, I, as a coach, I'm going to treat this game like we're going to try, like we're going out to win this one. I think Kevin Kopps made his second appearance of the week, and he had thrown on like that Friday against Vanderbilt, came back and threw Sunday against Tennessee, which in hindsight is actually insane that happened, that you used Kevin Kopps twice in Hoover for multiple innings each time. But of course we knew he was a little bit of an exception. But yeah, I think they kind of made that decision once they got to the title game. They were like, you know what, let's just roll this out and let's just try and win. And in this particular weekend, I can't remember, I think Arkansas played 4 games that year. If Arkansas only has to play 3 games, it's not like they're going to have to do anything crazy. So they could face a similar situation, but I definitely was like excited. And honestly, that team in that moment just felt like a team of destiny. Like it just, every time they played a game, anytime they played a series, we were just kind of like, they're going to win and we want them to win, and let's see them win. Like they won all year, might as well win there.
Yeah. I was it Whale Lockhart that like had a no-hitter, got broken up in the 9th or something? Was that him?
Yeah, it was almost a 7-inning no-hitter.
That's what it was. Yeah.
It might have been a 7-inning perfect game. It was close.
It was perfect. It was
like he literally went into the 7th inning and it was 10-0. And then with 2 outs, he gives up a base, like an infield single, and then a home run. And it was like, oh damn! And they ended up having to play all 9.
So it was Wicklander, Lockhart, and then they were going back and forth between Caleb Bolden and somebody.
Yeah. Jackson Wiggins started the title game that year. I think they played 4 games that week, and I think it was Bolden, Lockhart, and then Wicklander threw against Tennessee. He threw against Kumar Rocker that weekend, which is a super fun game. I think that was like a 9:30 game. Yeah. And then Wiggins, who also wound up starting the regional final against Nebraska as well. And by the way, I think a lot of people look back at that and they're like, well, see, they shouldn't have tried to win the SEC title game because that's, they ended up losing in the postseason. There were like 2 weeks in between those things. I don't really know if there's a correlation, but anytime it plays out that way, you kind of have to look back and be like, ugh.
Yeah. Because I think that, if I'm not mistaken, it was. I remember the only exciting thing I had, because all my friends were at the beach and I was just sitting there in freaking Hoover and I was so pissed off I had to be there. But I remember when Arkansas and Tennessee played each other in the title game, I was like, okay, nobody else is here. I'm going to take this video of Dave Van Horn and Tony V talking, because the last time they saw each other was when the screaming match happened. I was like, it's going to go viral. It's going to be crazy. Nothing happened. I was so pissed off. I was like, why'd you guys have to be nice to each other? I was hoping there'd be like a, kind of a pointing and all that. Nah, it didn't happen. Really disappointing, but still, it was good to get one. It's kind of like, you got it. And if it's cool if you do it again, because I agree. If Arkansas wins their first 2 games this weekend, it's like, all right, on Sunday, you got to win it. If you're here, you got to win it. So make that happen. But okay, we got a lot of people chiming in on the chat. So let's go ahead and get into it and check the vibe presented by our friends over at Basis Health. They're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They are here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. All right, so getting into the chat, which it seems like everyone's wanting to talk about one little thing. So I'm sure we'll get into that at some point. But shout out to Heartbroken Hawk. Thank you, Heartbroken Hawk. He says, I love the new beat. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, Addison Yates says, does anyone know where I can get a free roof inspection? Gee, if only we had somebody out here. How about HD Roofing and Construction? Give them a shout, hdarkansas.com, because they will give an inspection.
We'll give you the full spiel in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone in the chat told him that he needed to just bring his house to HD Roofing, and they'll take a look at it. Just
load it up. Just load it up and bring it on down. Might as well. Let's see. Also, Hickory Hogs over here saying, I think I'm more mad at Mike Miller than I am at Boogie. Hindsight is 2020, but looking back, he might have played Boogie a little to help his alma mater.
So okay, I want Hickory Hog to clarify a little bit. What does he think he did wrong to Boogie here? Like, do you think he maybe sabotaged his draft stock so that he would go back to school and then go to Florida? Because I mean, honestly, like, I don't know if Boogie got a raw deal here. I think he got a lot of money to go to the defending national champions, where he's going to be the starting point guard. I don't know if it's a bad deal for Boogie, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, it's I think it's a good thing for Boogie. Now, might he have steered it in the direction of his alma mater? Maybe,
Sure.
but they could also just been the best fit for him, and it made financial sense. Which, I mean, looking at the fit, we talked about it yesterday. It's a really good basketball fit for him there. I think people are always going to kind of wonder because of the way that it happened, where he declared for the draft and let it set for a couple weeks. Arkansas puts all its plans into motion, and then at the very end, in the midnight hour, he's like, "Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and enter the portal too, and keep all my options open." But that was probably because after he entered the draft and started getting that initial feedback, it sucked, and it became a little bit more clear to him that he might have to consider coming back to college. So, kind of a circumstantial thing there. And I'll tell you guys what's interesting is I know it was Matt Norlander that put out that his NIL deal with Florida was north of 2 and south of 3 million. And that makes sense to me, but I will say that I was exchanging messages with someone within Arkansas's program last night, and they were under the impression that he got over 3 million.
Wow.
A little over 3. So maybe that's what they told him, was like, hey, bump it up over the, you know what I mean? Like, it could be just negotiation or whatever. So, but he was probably, I'm going to say probably in the 2.5 to 3 range when it was all said and done. It's a pretty good chunk of change for him.
So the only real case I can think for like what Mike Miller would have done wrong here is if he just like told NBA teams like, hey, don't draft this guy. Don't be interested in him. Which, he did pull out like at the combine. Like I can hear you
that
out.
was weird.
It was a little weird that he did it the way he did it. So I can hear out that argument here, but in terms of like any actual wrongdoing, and I don't know, I like Mike Miller too. So I don't want to imagine that he like did something shady here. And it didn't seem like he did.
No, I wouldn't take it as any shadiness. If you want to be upset at him because you think maybe he was like, if there was, the only way I could see it, and I still don't even think this is true, but the only way I could see it is if Boogie was like, I'm still thinking about going back to college basketball. And I think maybe I try to go back to Arkansas. And then Mike came in and was like, well, let's not do that. How about my alma mater, Florida? Which that would be the only thing I could think you could get mad at Mike Miller for doing, but I don't think that's what happened. I feel like Boogie, even though he's a young kid and I know he listens to people, I'm sure he's still an adult. He can still be like, oh, well, gee, I never thought of it that way. Like Florida, and I've always wanted to go there. Like, I don't think it was to that in depth about it.
Although Boogie is barely an adult, though, he is like, he turned 18 like 4 months ago.
Yeah. He just signed up for the draft. So the other draft, the real one.
Registered.
The registered.
Mike Miller comes in. Hey, we're declaring you for the draft. All right, buddy.
See in Iran, pal.
You're going to now.
Right. Trey says, got to give Curtis some props because he was the first I saw about the Norlander podcast remarks on Thiero. Now everyone else is running with it. So.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about that is, because I just, if there is any national college basketball content, I consume it. Like everything the Field of 68 puts out, I listen to it, and I can't stand some of those guys, but I just do, man. Like I'm a sucker for it. But that's my favorite show, the Norlander and Parrish. And I listened to about half of it the other day, and that's where we heard him talking about Boogie in Florida and, Cal telling Boogies if he hits the portal, he's not, like the doors closed at Arkansas and all that. And then yesterday after the show, I was just doing some stuff around the house, and I was like, I'm going to listen to the rest of it and see what he has to say here. So it's set for a full day that podcast was out before I even heard that. But it was crazy because they were doing like a stay or go segment and was talking about everybody and going like kind of deep diving on some of the guys like, Darian Williams and, RJ Lewis and Tahad Pettiford and all these guys. And he's just like, yeah, a few more names for you. Adou Thiero, Carter Knox. I think they're both going to wind up back at Arkansas. And I was like, whoa. So, how you can do like the rewind 15 seconds thing. I did it like 3 times. Like, I'm going to make sure that's exactly what he said. And then I'm going to go post it in the Discord because that's crazy. But hey, there you go.
I see. This is one of those situations where like, I wonder obviously Matt Norlander, like you said, the guy that we owe a lot to because we clowned him whenever he didn't pick Arkansas good last year, and then we did we gave him his props and all that. Clearly a very respectable voice. But I always sometimes wonder, I'm like, because you listen to national guys all the time, like you said, and like sometimes they say stuff that you don't know, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that. And then sometimes I'm like, I wonder if he just kind of said that offhand and like really didn't like realize what he like didn't really think about it too deeply. But a lot of times these guys who are in Matt Norlander's position don't really like to do that, especially someone like him. Like they don't really like to just throw stuff out there because they don't want it brought back up in their face. And so it is very fascinating. Like and also the timing of it, because it was before he went to this Clutch Pro Day thing yesterday, right?
I think so. Yeah. But I actually think him participating in the Clutch Pro Day is a good thing for Arkansas. Potentially here. It's very interesting. And like Matt Norlander, like I don't think it was just a thing where he just pulled it randomly. He's very meticulous, like with his show prep and everything. And he was reading his notes, and like he specifically had Adou and Carter listen. There were a bunch of guys that he didn't mention, but he did mention them, which I found interesting. He also provided more context on Knox and was like, hey, maybe he got some better feedback than anticipated, but he didn't say anything else about Adou. And then he talked about other guys. And at the very end, he was like, of all the guys we talked about here, the one that feels the most hazy to me is Jameer Watkins. And it's like, he didn't even double back. So it was just interesting the way that it was said. So what I've been trying to convey to folks, and hey, feel however you want about it. If folks want to say, no, that's BS, he's an idiot, do that. If you want to take it to the bank, do that at your own risk. For me, I imagine he probably heard something from someone, and does that mean it's right or he's the ace? I don't know, but maybe that door is just open slightly more than we thought it was. I would imagine he's looking for a specific guarantee that he doesn't have yet. We'll see if he gets it.
Yeah, and regardless of what ends up happening, because I think it still makes sense that we should be expecting Adou Thiero to go to the draft, but I think it makes a lot of the other pieces, because all the time, anytime we get information, then we start looking at other things. We view that differently. It views kind of the entire way you view this Arkansas offseason changes a little bit if you realize that actually there was a possibility there. And even if Adou Thiero ends up going to the draft, it kind of makes a little bit more sense why Arkansas hasn't really been connected to any fours or hasn't really been connected to rounding out that depth chart there. Like it makes a little bit of sense. And
it makes me scratch my head a lot less.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, like, if Adou Thiero ends up going to the draft and Arkansas ends up shit out of luck, like, okay, we can talk about that. But it is funny how as much as we can pick at these things and be like, why are they making this decision? Why are they making that decision? We all agree that like, if both of those guys were to come back to Arkansas, there would be no questions to be asked. It'd be like, wow, Arkansas's brought back the squad, and we'd feel a lot better.
Also, shout out to our guy Quinn, by the way, for a super chat. Good to see you. He says Quinn is here, no reason to fear, but I know
we are glad you were here, Quinn.
Oh yeah, man,
we are indeed. I want to say one more thing about Adou, because you mentioned that pro day, that Clutch Pro Day. That was one of the things that I was really wondering about. We talked about it some on the pod of like, okay, what are they going to be comfortable letting him do at the combine? Turns out that was nothing aside. Like, we went and got fitted for suits the other day. That's basically what Adou did at the combine. You know what I mean? So that was kind of interesting. But if you look at this pro day here, we knew that they were going to have that a couple days after the combine. And the question was, does he participate or not? And what does he do? Because they set these up very, very specifically. Every drill they do, everything is tailored to each individual player that's in there. They're showing off strengths and they're hiding weaknesses. And so, there's a lot of just faces in the crowd and some ball handling stuff, whatever. We don't know how much Adou did here, but you can tell he did something. Like we'll see at the end that he's in kind of a long sleeve or whatever. So people are like, oh, he didn't do anything. Well, a lot of times these guys play 12 straight minutes in a basketball game. They sit down, they put their shooting shirt back on. And so it could be something like that. But at the very end, the dude is shirtless and he's drenched in sweat and he's like running over to the team huddle and they're, getting hyped up or whatever. So he very clearly did something. And my thought process with that knee is if you're able to break that kind of sweat, you know what I'm saying? And there he is right there. Like watch the man. I'm not trying to be weird, but he's glistening over here in just a second, and look at him. That's a dude who's been working. Okay.
And that is a participant in this combine.
Nothing on his knee, no brace, no sleeve, no nothing like that. So maybe he didn't do that much. Maybe he was working hard. But hey, he was out there and active. But what this tells me is, because some of what I was hearing is that, the reason why they didn't do so much with him at the combine is because maybe that knee's not quite 100%, but also they were pretty comfortable with where his draft stock was. Well, if that's the case, then why do anything here? And so it makes me wonder, and if you think about what he said, like, we're very much connecting dots here, but he's like, hey, the door's kind of closed for me, but not for my people. They need to hear more assurances and stuff, and we'll see. And then, we start hearing this stuff from Norlander, and you're starting to think, well, maybe there's a certain number he's trying to get to, a certain guarantee he's trying to get to. Maybe that's why he's participating in something like that, because he hasn't gotten it yet, and he's trying to get there. So that's why I still think it's very unlikely for Arkansas here, but I see the vision with where this is going, and why Arkansas is waiting, and why it's not 100% a done deal the other direction yet.
Two things I have to say here. One, Walter Clayton Jr. looked about 5'9" in that video. Might not have helped his draft stock. Maybe should have put him on some stilts. But seriously, I hope Walter Clayton gets drafted. But two, you remember when Cal about a week ago said something about, hey, if you watch the NBA playoffs, you'll see a lot of guys that look like Adou Thiero. He, basically indicating that Cal has closed that door. That Cal, in that moment, at least made it seem like, hey, Adou is 100% an NBA guy. I wonder if maybe even that message was kind of strategic of Cal trying to do him a solid and kind of realizing, hey, he's not getting the feedback he maybe wanted to get.
He also said,
and I wonder if that also was a little bit of a chess move of like, hey, I'm trying to do everything I can to help get you drafted. If it doesn't work out, don't forget that I did that, and then Adou might be more receptive. Honestly, man, like, the fact that it's even a conversation right now is cool with me, regardless of what he does. I just hope that he's able to make the best decision for himself. Of course, we would love for it to be at Arkansas, but like, I also would love for Adou to get that confirmation from someone that is like, you're going to achieve your dream. You're going to get drafted. You're going to make a lot of money. Like, that would be cool as well, too.
No doubt. Cal also said, like, he did that whole thing about, you see guys in the NBA playoffs, they look like Adou, he's ready and everything. He did throw in there, he's got to get healthy though. Like, he does have to get healthy. So it's fascinating. And these are things that we grasp onto right now. It's kind of funny. Also, shout out to Hunter Dickinson for being there. Don't know if you guys saw him in the video. Somebody said they thought they saw Caleb Battle in the background. I didn't go back and watch again, but good for him.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting. Somebody tweeted about it. I was like, it'd be funny if there was like Caleb Battle and like going head to head against Adou Thiero. I was like, man, it's like kind of two worlds colliding there, two separate times of Arkansas people. But he was in there too, and it was funny seeing the faces in the crowd, just seeing. And now every time I look at Pat Riley, when I see there, I was like, man, if he had a beard, it'd be John Calipari from 2020. Be the same guy. It just looks so much alike. Let's see. Also, Trey wants to know, do we know if Knox has any private workouts with teams scheduled?
I think he has at least one, has or had. I don't know if that's already happened this week. I think he had at least one before the combine too. And so that might be part of the delay. Sometimes those things get rescheduled. Sometimes you can add on to that. Sometimes you just cancel them if it is what it is. But I do think he seems pretty committed to getting like every ounce of feedback that he possibly can. And that would certainly explain why we haven't heard anything just yet. He's got a week.
Now, I just want to bring this up from Ralph because I just laughed about it. He said, John Neighbors said the team was better without Boogie, and now he's surprised he's left. Boogie stated negativity ran him out of Arkansas. I don't remember saying that ever, but I'm also not surprised that he left either.
I also don't think Boogie Flan said. Did Boogie Flan say that?
Dude, it was on SportsCenter. It was a quote. Just they just very well known. Apparently, I don't know. It seemed like Ralph just jumped in and was just like first guy I see. I'm just going to say these.
I feel like our trio has been from the jump the kings of, hey, the team has played better since Boogie's injury. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a correlation or a causation. Correlation doesn't mean causation. Like, I feel like we've been pretty transparent about that.
John's been very harsh on that basketball team from start to finish, though, and it has not gone unnoticed. So
then when he got in front of that camera for that interview for that Vice documentary, he started smiling, sunshine pumping like crazy. It's unreal.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. I was just waiting for Ralph to finally call me out on my all my things that I've said in my past. So I'm glad Ralph is here though. But I'm also glad that somebody named Ben's here because it's just my favorite thing. Y'all might as well get used to this. It's the Calipari way.
This has been cracking me up, bro. I could get used to this actually. It's so funny, man. Kentucky picked up that kid yesterday, and I just quote tweeted and I was like, good grief. And my thought process is like, they've got like, it feels like they got 19, 20 guys. I mean, how many players do you need on this roster? It's just very reminiscent of Muss, where he just go out and get guy after guy after guy after guy. And you're like, good Lord, when is the roster full? And then, people are just like, yeah, enjoy Cal and get used to this. And it must be a rough life. And I'm like, it's brutal over here. I mean, hell, coming off of a Sweet 16, in the first year, and then you have a half full roster right now that's already a projected top 10. This is rough, and we're suffering, we're struggling, we're trying to make it through the best that we can. We just lean on each other in these times. It's crazy, bro.
Dude.
I mean, we've made it through some hard times together as a trio. But I don't know if we're going to be able to survive having two NBA level players come out of Arkansas. One of them might come back. One of them might not come back. Maybe they both come back. Maybe they both leave. Like this is a dreadful spot to be in as a sports fan. Having NBA teams want your players and then potentially having those players come back. Like it's a disaster, man.
Well, my favorite thing real quick is I like to take shots at Kentucky. I guess they just announced Kentucky did that they're doing an exhibition game against Georgetown to just like recently. And, everyone's tweeting about it, media. There's a certain person from the media I laugh because it just has to be shots taken at Cal where it's like, wow, another big time exhibition at Rupp. Kentucky will play both Purdue and Georgetown in the preseason. A total revamp from what Big Blue Nation is used to. It's like,
okay.
What does this mean, man? Like, what are you talking about?
Anytime we mention Kentucky, there's just a swarm of folks who are like, you only talk about talk about our team, not yours. You're obsessed. But like, until John Calipari stops being the measuring stick for success for Kentucky, they can't tell me nothing, man. It's every single thing they do. They have to compare to what that man is doing. By the way, Arkansas hosted Kansas in Bud Walton Arena and played the TCU down the road in Fort Worth in the preseason. They're getting ready to play Memphis in an exhibition game this coming year, and then they're going to have another marquee opponent at home. So, are we? I don't know. Are we measuring wieners here on exhibition schedules? What are we doing?
It doesn't matter, man. It just goes back to the whole point I wanted to bring up with that person saying, get used to this with Cal. It's like, it'll never change. There's nothing like it could be that they decided to install new colored wood on the court there at Rupp Arena. And everybody like, this is just a complete change from what it used to be. As if like, Cal was the one saying, we need a certain color of wood here on the court. Like, man, y'all are just let it go. Just move on. Let it go, my man. That's all I'm saying.
Get used to having the exact same postseason result as Kentucky. Get used to it.
Yeah.
Second weekend. Get used to it.
So dumb. A few more here because I know we'll move on. But I love this from I guess one of you guys highlighted. But Ron says we're scared. We're as scared of change as we are a depth chart.
I absolutely love that comment. That's a good one. That's been my motto, for the last month. Don't be afraid of the depth chart. It's okay. It's all right. Fill it out a little bit, baby. We can do that.
Also, it comes from Gray Wolf. He's just like, question, why would we want Tony V after Dave Van Horn? Do we want his antics here? I want the winning. Winning's fun.
I'd say the fact that he's turned a complete non-program in baseball into arguably the best program in the country. He's a defending national champion. He recruits at the highest level. He's also taken Tennessee's the facilities and all that. He's upgraded those. He has an appreciation for Arkansas's facilities, their fan base. He knows the fan base. Dave loves him. They're close personal friends also. So outside of that, I see. Yeah, I don't know why you'd want him, but those would be the reasons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think they toned down the antics this past weekend. I think people are making the mistake of thinking that like he would run the exact same show. You'd have the same douche nozzles at Arkansas that he has at Tennessee. Listen, when you're a program like when he took over Tennessee, they were a complete nothing in baseball. They had good years way back in the day, but like they kind of needed a little bit of something to edge them over the top. They he like I don't think it's going to be just a douche show at Arkansas when Tony V takes over.
Yeah, no douche shows here. But no, that's what I've always said is like when Tony V comes into the mecca of college baseball, he shows his respects because he's going to be the next head coach. That's what happened. He told him to tone it down. It was as simple as that. Also, too, I want to bring this up because Finch brought it up. He's like, "Good afternoon, fellas. Glad John was able to get some good frozen picks for future reference off of me yesterday." I don't know what you were sending, Finch. Like in my Facebook, like it was just 3 straight pictures of our like sim screenshotting and watching us like on here. I don't know what that meant. I guess it was frozen to like Andrew freezing or something, maybe. Okay. Okay. Because I looked at it and they all looked like the same picture. So I was like, all right, cool. But okay, that's clarified. Yes. Yeah. Glad that we were able to get that too. Also, Quinn, gotta do it because super chat. Appreciate you. Goes, we are in the wait and see spot with Tahad. Think he'll be back though. So
Pettiford?
Yep. See him. Who wouldn't want to go play for Auburn at this point in time?
They'll be pretty good again if they get him back.
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean, they're probably gonna be pretty good anyway. But you need that because they're losing pretty much everybody else. I think.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'm just, obviously some years will be better than others, but I'm just gonna always assume, hey, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, like those teams are always just going to be good at worst. They're going to be a tournament team at worst. Just a matter of how that. Shout out to Benny Baum says, "Go Cats, don't be jelly." Good one. You paid us for that. You paid us money for this. Like, just remember that. Oh man. At first, I thought
I'm so mad that we don't have an abundance of mid. It's driving me nuts.
It's terrible.
Oh, well.
I don't even know how we handle it. Trash. Golly, people crack me up. We love you, Kentucky fans. You guys were great when we were in Lexington. I really hope they do a home and home with Kentucky again this year. I doubt they will. It'll probably be just at Fayetteville, which is fine. But I'd really like to go back to Lexington. It was a good time last time, so maybe we can make it happen again. And we won't fly United. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get into real quick your Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by our friends at Alumni Hall. Number one Razorback shopping experience. They got all new Nike apparel in. They were promoting it yesterday, and so they're getting you ready with all the good Nike stuff. So you can check them out at InsideArkansas.com/Alumni Hall. And you can also check them out in store at 3417 North College Avenue. We're going to be live there the Friday of the Super Regionals. Really looking forward to that once again. But they are the best in everything when it comes to Razorback apparel for men, women, and kids. They have the high-end quality stuff that you need: polos, hats, jerseys, everything. Check them out today. It's Alumni Hall. And just simply, Arkansas SEC tournament, obviously going on. They will be playing 3 games at the most. So how many games does Arkansas win in the SEC tournament? Not how many do you want them to, how many do they actually win? And where it stands right now, 37.5% of you say 1, 33.5% of you say 2, and 22.5% of you say 3. But only 6% of you say 0. So fans feeling good about at least getting 1 dub over there in Hoover this weekend.
I'll go, screw it. I'm going 3. They're winning the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's like 1 or 3 is kind of where my brain's at. Here's the thing. I think Arkansas, as you know, the Arkansas Athletic Department, there's nothing they love more than losing in the SEC title game. In basketball, they've done it like 5 times. Baseball, I don't know if they've done it in baseball, weirdly enough. Maybe they have. I really don't remember. They did. They lost to LSU in 2017. Soccer, they did it like 4 years in a row. Like they kind of like to do it. Football, they're 0-3, 0-4, whatever it is. I think Arkansas is due for another SEC tournament title loss. So I think I'm gonna land on 2 if I'm predicting. Now, obviously, if they get to the title game, I'll want them to win. The only problem I have with 1 is that means you beat the winner of Florida and Ole Miss, and then you lose to LSU, most likely. I don't want to lose to LSU again. I'm tired of losing to LSU. They're kind of the team that scares me the most in the country, and so I definitely wouldn't want to lose to them right before the postseason starts. So give me 2. I'm okay with them losing in the title game.
Yeah, I want them to win 3 if they're going to win any. Like again, that's my whole mantra: they either win none or win it all. And I again am thankful for the single elimination because it's easier to follow. You don't have any craziness going on. I guess because the game right now that just ended, A&M and Mississippi State. A&M beat the brakes off of Mississippi State.
What was that final score?
I think it was 9-0. I think it was the final.
How confident are you that the score was 9-0?
I know for a fact, like 10 minutes ago, I looked at it. It was 9-0. So like,
okay, well that's not the same, John. That's not the same.
Oh, okay, it's 9-0. There you go. It's 9-0.
Okay,
it's 9-0. All right.
So fun fact about that game, I bet the under 9.5. Texas A&M scores 6 in the second inning. And I was like, good God, hit a grand slam. And I was like, this is a disaster. So I actually live bet the under again because I was like, they're not going to hit another grand slam. And the live bet under easily hit because it was like 13.5. I can't believe that 9.5 wound up hitting. That's unreal.
Yeah. Oh, hey, listen, that's why they know what they're doing over there at BetSaracen, man. And they know the lines there. But
hey, is there a pathway to seeing Auburn in this thing? Or would
I would have to look. I could be wrong. I really honestly, I don't have the bracket memorized. I can't remember who it is that LSU's supposed to play. Would it be Auburn?
Yeah, so I got it right here. So Auburn is playing Texas A&M now. Like that's who they'll be playing. If they win that, if Auburn wins that, then they'll play LSU. So basically, Arkansas would face them in the semifinals.
Gotcha.
If it got to that.
Okay. If Auburn beats LSU, I change my answer to 1. I want to put Quinn over. I want Arkansas to give Quinn's team the boost they need. I would be thrilled with 1-1 if the 1 is Florida and Auburn.
Yeah, I'd be all for that too. Yeah, because I guess because just to clarify, that game A&M and Mississippi State was supposed to be played last night, but they got delayed, right? And so they got
which pushes everything. So now Auburn, who is supposed to play the night game tonight against the winner of what would have been last night's game. Now they're going to play at 9:30 tomorrow, which sucks. We're going from like, oh, you probably weren't thrilled about playing at 9 at night. Now it's like, okay, well now come back, get to the yard at 7 a.m. It's like, all right, damn.
Dude, that's again what I hated about Hoover. There's always games delayed. There's always happening. That's why if you're one of the teams that's going to be stuck in that like pathway of night games, you're screwed, man. You are so screwed because it's going to be a brutal stretch.
By the way, that's one thing that we didn't talk about with the formatting. Is I believe it's tomorrow would be Thursday. There's only 2 games scheduled. Now that will, right. I think it's now going to be 3 with that, but it's like they actually have kind of some wiggle room for this exact thing. So like Arkansas's game's set for 3:00 on Friday, and you're like, oh well, it could get pushed back. There's already been 1 delay. They kind of have standards in place to where that Thursday is kind of their catch-up day if they need. They have 2 open spots.
Oh yeah. So let me ask you guys this: would you rather have it to where you play a game on a Thursday, then take a break, and then play on Saturday, or would you rather do the just back to back 3 straight days? I feel like the 3 straight days is more what you're used to because it's that kind of what you do. But yeah. I don't know. I was kind of curious if that's like an advantage or disadvantage to one or the other.
I think if you're a team like A&M who is trying to win the whole thing and needs to win the whole thing, and you're using all your arms, you'd probably like that day off. But for most teams like Arkansas is not going to bring back any arms twice. So I don't really think it would matter that much other than just personal fatigue. But like you said, that's,
man. Well, yes, agree there.
Well, like you said, so it's already been said. You know what I mean?
Yeah. By the way, Quinn says for Super Chases, we'll be facing A&M tomorrow morning. Yeah. Well, we'll see, Quinn. We'll see. It could. He says weather's looking good the rest of the week. Yeah. Again, it's like the weather could look good, dude, but all it takes is that one lightning strike within 5 miles where it's. What was it? It was the TCU regional in Fayetteville. I'll never forget that, man. I know Arkansas got their butts handed to them, but it was like there was a lightning strike and it got delayed, and the weather could not be better outside. Like it was so perfect, but there was this one like little random spot the lightning hit. They're like, 30 minutes called. It's and I'll never. Hopefully, he doesn't get mad at me calling him out. But I remember Madison McIntyre, Will McIntyre's dad. Love the guy. I'm just sitting there talking to somebody. He comes and grabs me by the back of the arm. He is so mad, like just screaming about the weather. And he's like, I've been checking the radar this whole time. And this is like, it's because it screws everything up, man, with those delays. But yeah, it was pretty brutal. So hopefully the weather does stay the same and there's no delays or anything like that. So, let's see. Also, hey, shout out to Corey for the gifted of 5 Inside Arkansas memberships. Hey, thanks, Corey. I know people grab that. Yeah. I also wanted to bring this up too for our producer who's been slacking, Michelle. She's apparently a full-fledged member, so we appreciate your membership, Michelle, as well. But yeah, she's been checking it out and says, yeah, I know. I feel like she's been missing as much as Quinn has been missing. Like, what's going on?
She should just hand Curtis a $5 bill at the first of the month.
Oh my God.
Yes, she should. Yes, she should.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, she says thanks to Corey. So apparently she's one of the random ones that got gifted it. So
we were talking about that the other day when we first did this, and so many people were is like the gifted membership. Nobody knew how it worked, and she was just left hanging. She's like, "Damn, it's tough."
Yeah.
She's in here every day. You know, a regular chatter. You would think that that she would get one of those random gifts, but
so how does it work? Does someone have to go try and get it? You know, someone has to go like try and get a membership, and then they're like, "Hey, here's a free one," or like, does it just like someone just becomes a member?
I think it's just someone just becomes a member, just like
I think like if you gift 5 of them or whatever, then it's just randomly passes them out. I could be wrong.
Damn. I mean, you know, I kind of feel bad for our members that didn't choose it.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit different because it's not a full-fledged like subscriber, like, oh, that person's going to pay for it all the time. I don't know. It's still new. It's still an ever-evolving thing. But speaking of, for those of you who may not have followed us on social media, which you should, we're excited to have a new partner actually here at Inside Arkansas with Radiant Elements Medical Spa. I talked about that when we were at Alumni Hall, like the best massage I've ever gotten. Yeah, they've partnered with us, and they're going to be partnering with us throughout postseason baseball and Bombastic, as well as here on Inside Arkansas Live. So we're excited about that. You need to check it out as well. And one of the cool things that we're going to be doing for our members on YouTube and everything is we'll have a monthly membership only stream where we'll do some cool stuff, like some giveaways, some stuff from Alumni Hall, give away a free massage from Radiant Elements Medical Spa, things like that. So, you know, we're not just saying, hey, sign up, give us money and go away. Like, that's not what we want to make sure it's worthwhile to you. So, but we're excited about that, and we'll keep everybody updated on those things as well. All right, so let's keep it moving here and get into who our heavy hitters are, presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction. We know people are still dealing with storms, and it's been brutal to see some of the damage that's been done, and some, of course, a lot worse than others. And there's some that, of course, with hail and high winds and everything, roofs are the one that takes the biggest impact from them. But it's not something that you can just walk outside and look up and say, it's fine, good to go. You need someone to expect it. You need somebody who is a professional, and that's what HD Roofing and Construction can do for you. And when you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. Check them out today by calling them at 501-428-0429, or check out their website at hdarkansas.com and get yourself a free inspection. We had a chatter asking about, hey, is there a place I can get a free inspection for my roof? Well, lo and behold, you do. It's HD Roofing Construction, so we appreciate them being a part of it. All right, so for my heavy hitter, I wanted to bring this up, and I honestly, guys, I cannot remember if I brought it up yesterday. So if it's a repeat heavy hitter, I'll move on to my next one because it's very possible, because my memory sucks sometimes, most of the time, usually. But I want to give a shout out to Razorback baseball fans as my heavy hitter, because the attendance numbers came out for the regular season, and it's always cool to see. You know, Arkansas is always going to be in the mix as one of the top ones, but to see Arkansas finish second in the nation in total attendance at 356,663 was once again really awesome. You had some pretty solid series at home. LSU blew everybody out of the water. They normally do. LSU had 387,000, so you're talking about another 30,000 plus there. But I think it's really cool for Arkansas, and here's the biggest reason why. The weather sucked so many different series this year for Arkansas fans. For them to still be second and really not even close. Mississippi State was well behind them. Just kind of shows their dedication or loyalty. It always helps when you're winning and you're good. But I just wanted to say that they were my heavy hitter for braving the elements, dealing with crappy weather, even some crappy series and everything, still being one of the highest attended ballparks in this regular season in college baseball. So shout out, heavy hitter, Razorback baseball fans for me.
John's trying to make amends with the hog pen out there.
I didn't say hog pen.
Listen, if you ain't first, you're last. That's
right.
Not true. You could be second or third, or it's immediately what I thought of there. But no, that's freaking awesome, man. It's really cool because you see, you know, some of these power conference baseball programs, and you look at just their facility and their crowds and everything, and you're like, man, people they don't care. It's just not a priority. And what Arkansas has been able to build here in Fayetteville is really, really cool. And it's just an awesome atmosphere and environment. It's a great time all the time. So that's awesome. And they're going to get to host what we hope, you know, knock on wood or whatever, would be a regional and a super. And while I'm knocking on wood saying, just get through the damn regional, please, that way we can get that experience. I mean, my goodness, but No, that's really cool. It's going to be packed out. It's going to be electric in there, the next couple weekends, and I'm really looking forward to that for sure. My heavy hitter is JD Note, boys. Listen, it was either going to be he's either going to be my heavy hitter, or I was going to throw it in there on Remember Wednesday. Remember when JD Note was the SEC Sixth Man of the Year? Well, he's the Sixth Man of the Year in his pro league over in Italy. So good for JD Note, man. That's awesome. Average over 13 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 36% from 3. And he's just living it up overseas. Could you imagine being JD Note, just being the freaking man in Italy? Dude, right now? I could. I think about that sometimes.
I love like JD Note. I know we've said he's like one of our favorites, but man, it's always going back. There was never a guy that was so fun to watch that had no fear of anybody and literally just didn't say anything. It wasn't like he was a guy that everyone hated because of his antics and like getting too crazy or whatever. And like you'd have Musk just losing his mind on him, screaming every expletive at him, and be like, "All right, coach, I got you." Like he just went out there and did his job. So yeah, I love that for JD Note. That's great.
What's funny, Curtis, is I was thinking about when Musk said on his visit to Arkansas, he was like, just give me a burger and then let's talk basketball. Like, everybody else wants to do stuff. A lot of these recruits come to Arkansas and they have an agenda of take me here. I want to see the frats. I want to see the sororities. And he was just like, let's just go to the basketball court. If I have to eat, I'll get a burger. But like, he did not care. So it's kind of funny because you think about some of these guys, we think hooping overseas is like a blanket statement, but hooping in Italy is a lot different than hooping in Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, JD Note, it's honestly kind of funny that he's in a place with so much culture and all this, because he probably doesn't get out and eat any pizza or like do any, like he probably doesn't explore Italy. I think he's just hooping out there. But love JD Note.
That would be real quick. That'd just be really funny. I just what you said, Andrew, of just him like gets back after like a 2 or 3 year span in Italy and he's talking to people. He's like, "Hey man, so what'd you do over there? See some cool stuff?" He's like, "I don't know, really. I just kind of hung out at the crib and went and played basketball." It's like, well, you didn't see Venice. You didn't go and explore. Nope, just hung out and play basketball. Man.
He's going to Giraldi's for some spaghetti and meatballs and just like tell you guys something about my experiences.
That's awesome.
Is this pecorino fresh?
That would be funny if he was a completely different man. Like he was like a well-traveled gentleman. Well, speaking of Italians and speaking of ballers, Chris Lanzilli is my heavy hitter. So, of course, I spoke to Chris Lanzilli on the Bombastic podcast. So, shameless plug. Go check that out if you want to, hear about Chris Lanzilli. Maybe you remember his time at Arkansas and you think, oh, yeah, he was a fun player. Let me check that out. Way better interview than I realized. Like, honestly, when I asked him to come on the show, I didn't know at the time because I'd interviewed him or I'd been to press conferences when he was playing and he wasn't like a great press conference guy. But for some reason, man, he just like now that he's not playing, he just let it fly, man. He was super open, super honest. Basically told me when he first got to Arkansas, he didn't vibe with anyone on the team. Like he was kind of like, maybe, he kind of went there because of Matt Hobbs and went there because of the fan base. But he was like, it took him a while to settle in and really find a home at Arkansas. But he now not only considers Arkansas a home, he was like dissing Wake Forest. And he spent 4 years there. He was like, dude, he was like, if the Wake Forest fan is listening, they can write me a letter. But he's like, I'm a Hog, dude. My best memories are as a Hog. He's like, I go back for football games. I never do that for Wake Forest. So that was cool. He placed a bet. He placed a $400 bet on Arkansas to beat Tennessee on Saturday, which hit. And he's like, hey, this is going to pay for my flight, which is when I reached out to him. He ended up losing all that money, betting some more, which is relatable. But he still did get a flight. He's coming to Fayetteville for the regional. And he's excited to experience Bomb as a fan. We were just talking about the atmosphere. He said he snuck over for the South Carolina game earlier this year, but it wasn't a loaded crowd. We were in Providence and he's excited to see it. He said he's going to go to the Hog Pen and start some fights. And I was like, not going to be that hard to do that there, buddy. Yeah. You can figure that out. He did. Yeah. I'm not even kidding, guys. He literally referenced Rick B in the interview.
Really?
He said apparently Rick B and a few others like led a happy birthday chant in Omaha when he was his birthday while Arkansas was playing in Omaha. And he's like, I'll never forget that. Like seeing those people like singing happy birthday to me in Omaha. He's like, that's when I know Arkansas was different.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Like, because Lanzilli is a player that sometimes you forget about. And he was on that team and everything. So yeah, go check out that interview. I'm sure it is great. And,
dude, he could not be more Bostonian.
I love that too. I love that. Was he actually was he from Boston or was he just from Massachusetts?
So he's from Stoneham, Massachusetts, which is like 20 minutes from Boston.
Gotcha. Okay.
And his last name is Lanzilli. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you can kind of figure it out.
Yeah, kind of makes sense there too. Also, real quick, I wanted to bring this one up for one of my heavy hitters. I just love this from Cal, just because he just flexing. Stopped in at the Yankee game to see my friend Brian Cashman. Crazy what he's done all these years. But yeah, just a casual flex. And I don't know about y'all guys. I feel like Cal is starting to really make sure that anytime he's out, if he's not wearing full-fledged red, it's a shade of red. Like, look at that shirt. Normally, he'd be wearing just a white shirt, blue red. No. He's got a little pink in there. I don't know if it's just because he washed his blazer with a white shirt and it bled into it, but he's rocking it a little bit. So I just love Cal's casual flexes because what was it last year? He's like, he missed out on the very first coaches show. He's like, sorry, I was at the World Series in the box hanging out with celebrities.
I called in from whoever's Steinbrenner's box or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, man, I just
don't worry, guys. Kenny Payne will be there to talk to you at Sassy's. Yeah.
Have y'all seen all the controversy going on with Yankees fans and bleacher creatures and this whole group
I heard the term bleacher creature for the first time today.
Yeah, it was like yesterday for me, but apparently when Juan Soto came to town, they had all these chants for him and people were making fun of it. And then this guy, who's like the ringleader of it, he's been speaking out and he's been battling with Jared Carrabis. I love seeing other fan bases do stupid stuff.
Yes. Yeah. It's nice to see kind of from the outsider's perspective for a change, see about somebody else doing something dumb. Yeah. Let's see a few chats here because I know we'll get to some of our headlines too. I did want to bring this up. I thought about playing it, but just copyright and stuff. But Bias Brim, our guy says, "Did you see the Brie Ellis 10-pitch all balls to grand slam recap by John Boy Media? It made her look like she was a mythical figure." LOL. I did watch that and it was really cool. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, do so. I like John Boy Media. Like we're content creators, and I always think, of course, our content's the best of anybody, but there are always little things here and there from people. I'm like, man, that's really cool. Like that's really cool what he's done of not only breaking it down, but then doing the lip reading is always hilarious of like what they actually said and all of that. So he's really good, but it was cool seeing Brie Ellis get a lot of love. I'm going to the game Friday, guys. I've purchased a ticket. And so I am going to go to that game on Friday, and looks like the weather might be a little bit for Saturday, Sunday, but we'll see. But either way, I'm excited about it. Excited to see the softball team out there.
That'll be cool, man. And when we talked about the Brie Ellis thing when it happened, like the whole at bat, we compared it to Barry Bonds, which may have sounded like a sacrilegious thing. There is nothing more Barry Bonds than getting walked on 4 pitches all day, and in the one strike you see for the entire afternoon, you just obliterate it. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Barry Bonds did, and she's the closest thing that we've seen in college softball to Barry Bonds, man. I mean, from what I can tell, she's putting together a historically great softball season. Like it's not only is she the player of the year, she's like the player of the decade, player of the century.
Yep. Yeah, and I want to say this now that I know he's listening. What's up, Quinn? Y'all had Brie Ellis and you screwed it up and you gave her to us, and now look, we could have had it, but no, you had to mess it up. So
y'all remember that year where like the head coach, like Courtney Deifel won Coach of the Year, KB Sides won Player of the Year. I can't remember the pitcher's name, but she won. I think it was Half maybe, or no, it was Delsey. Chinese Delsey. She won Pitcher of the Year. The only award went to the Freshman of the Year, that didn't go to Arkansas, was to Brie Ellis, who finished her career at Arkansas. So Arkansas swept those awards back in the day.
Yeah. We talk about somebody like, you mentioned Tony Vitello taking over a nothing program, and I know Courtney Deifel hadn't been to the World Series. I think this is the year, but man, you talk about her taking over a nothing program. And I think they had 3 straight years where they won 1 SEC game. And it's just trash. And the fact that she's been able to do what she's doing is awesome. So I can't wait. It'll be a fun atmosphere, and hopefully they get it done this weekend too. Also, speaking of, shout out to our guy Quinn too. Another super chat says, "I called Hagen Smith up in my franchise mode on the show with the White Sox." That a kid, Quinn.
Good work.
Move.
Good work.
Yeah.
Can I share a secret with y'all?
Go ahead.
There's a guy in the White Sox organization who is a left-handed pitcher who is ranked above Hagen Smith. They drafted him out of high school a couple years ago. His name's Noah Schultz. He's like 20 years old. He's in AA with Hagen. I will hate that kid for the rest of his life. I will cheer against him just because, I'm petty. And I've watched him pitch, and he's got electric stuff. I think Hagen's a better prospect. Like, I think Hagen's going to be their guy of the future, but they still are treating this kid with the kid gloves. They think he's the show. He's the second best left-handed pitcher in his organization.
Like that.
Well, listen, Andrew, I'm so happy you said that, because there's still people to this day that I hate with a burning passion only because they beat out a Razorback. Like, I will forever hate Emmanuel Quickly. Screw that guy. I hate him because he beat out Nathan Jones for the SEC Player of the Year. Want nothing to do with that guy.
Shot 38% from the floor and won SEC Player of the Year. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah. Like, literally every single stat Mason Jones led, except for the fact that one played for Kentucky and one didn't. And that's what happened. So
one played for Cal.
Yeah. It's at the Cal impact. Better get used to it. Getting the benefit of the doubt and getting your players to get automatic Player of the Year. Better get used to that, folks. Also, too, I want to bring this up real quick before we move on because I'm Bryce Brand. He's like, I just thought of something dumb. I wonder if anyone ever thought that this is a call-in show and the daily number on the right and they get some HD roofing. LOL. That would be pretty funny. And hopefully it happens.
Good for business over there.
Yep.
It's like, we can't take your call and field your sports question, but we can give you an inspection on your roof.
Yeah.
You're from where now? I heard it held there. We'll be out in an hour.
Yeah. But also, too, if somebody does that, then I don't know what else to do for them. Like, I mean, it's about as plain as everything else is just littered with HD roofing across here. And to think that this little bitty phone number over here is like, well, that's for the show. That's not for HD roofing. Like, come on now. Like,
this is a very colorful show, like with the different graphics that we have for the different sponsors. None of them are even remotely close to the same. It's just makes me feel good. I like the orange and the black. I'm rocking orange and black today. It's the old high school colors, McCrory. It just feels right for me. Sometimes I forget to change it, like on the Pod of the Palace. I just keep talking after I do the read or whatever. It's usually this one because it just feels cozy for me. And then I feel bad. So the next time I do a show, it's like the Basis Health Day, and I just leave that one up there for 11 minutes, So
hey, hot take. John's pretty good at his job.
He does a good job, doesn't he? Yeah.
Hot take.
Not too shabby.
Because that's what's crazy is like, I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, but people don't understand how long it takes to do this stuff. Like, they see this graphic, they're like, well, yeah, just throw it. Like, people, like, even doing like a 60-minute like YouTube or 60-second short or video, if you produce it or whatever, that takes like an hour. It is so much work. But yeah, thank you. I like to make things colorful and everything too. So, okay, we'll do some of your chats and get into some of the headlines presented by our friends over at BetSaracen, the #1 sports betting app in the entire state. And huge shout out to them because you always love, seeing local companies here in Arkansas do successful things. And that's definitely what Saracen has been doing because they've been killing it with the numbers for like the 18th straight month, year, whatever it is. They're still killing it where they had a handle of 25.9 million and winnings of 2.3 million that blew every other sports betting app out of the water, just out of the water. So they're the #1 for a reason. So down on today, get to betting on all NBA action. They have SEC baseball tournament. They have softball. They have everything. They're #1 for a reason. You can download it on your iPhone or on your Android or check them out at BetSaracen.com. Also, chat from here from Tamara. See, I don't remember how to say her name. She said, me and my daughter are going to Kansas City, Missouri this weekend to watch the Savannah Bananas. Have y'all seen them? I have not. Have y'all?
Not in person. I haven't. But it seems very entertaining.
No, yeah. My sister took her kids whenever they were in Baton Rouge. They came away and they were like obsessed. They have all the merch. Like they are obsessed with it. It seems like a really good thing to bring your kid to. I don't know how you got the tickets to Tamara because you probably had to kill someone to get those. It's hard to get into those Savannah Banana games.
Michelle's friends with the athletic trainer there, like, or at least maybe was there, I guess, or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She said one of her old athletes is a coach of the Savannah
athletes.
Banana.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So so do you coach actual like baseball or do you coach them like just to do fun stuff? Like what type of coach are we talking here? Is it they're
probably a little bit of both?
Okay.
You have to have degrees in baseball and choreography.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dude, you know what's funny is like a lot of the players. And by the way, it's not my thing. We're not the target audience. I think we should understand because I see people like roasting the Savannah Bananas all the time. Which like if you're an adult that's just going by yourself, yeah, it's not going to be a great time for you. You're not the target audience. But some of the players are like like I know a guy that played at LSU and played in the Orioles organization for a while that like is on he's not on the Bananas, he's on another team, but it's like they've got dudes that are throwing 97, like they're like actually good baseball players who just happen to be doing some weird stuff. So it's a cool little thing to bring your kid to for sure. Well,
I just laugh because real quick, I'll never forget, this was back 2022. I got in an argument with a Tennessee fan because, their antics of baseball and everything. And one guy was like, well, when the Savannah Bananas do it, everybody's okay with it. But Tennessee does it. I'm like, you're comparing yourself to the Savannah Bananas and saying that, this is why it's okay, why we're acting like jerks, because the Savannah Bananas do it. And so you should, if you like them, you should like us. It's like, well, I think there's a little bit different of a scenario there. So, but yeah, I hear they're pretty cool though. I hear if they ever if it was at the Party Animals, is that what their name is? That's coming to Bomb this summer, I think. I think some people are going to that. I'd go see something like that. But if they ever came by Bomb, something or Arvest Ballpark or wherever, I'd definitely try to go and see them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Also, shout out to Brim. He goes, if Cal doesn't add another player, I nominate Curtis to be on the back end of the rotation, 11th man. Kurt. I also second that nomination.
How about back into the roster?
Yeah.
Back into the rotation. No, I'm not built for that, but I could absolutely be the dude who hangs out in the team issued warmups, and I'm just standing at half court until the big men are doing their stuff, and I'm just like the passer for them, in the game, and then I'm just helping choreograph the bench celebrations. I'd be all for that,
dude. And then you're also the guy that when it's a blowout city, all the student checks being Curtis, get him in the game so he can shoot, and every time you touch the ball, shoot. And then if you make one, it's literally just like the greatest shot ever made.
I'm in the game. The student section would have like the exciting white and the premium cracker, signs out there for me. It'd be awesome, man. I would absolutely love that.
11th
my vibes would not be. I would not be able to coordinate it like Cash Chavis did.
No.
It would be a different kind of positive energy, though.
Would you ever record anything as good as Lawson Blake's "Welcome to the SEC"? Probably not.
No, the standard should be set a lot lower than that. It's really good stuff from him.
Yeah, between that, what was it? Johnny Buckets, Jonathan Holmes that made that one shot that was just ridiculous, and then I think it was like Dusty Andes, Daryl Macon. That started becoming like a riot there on the bench. They were so excited for him. So, yeah, that was pretty good. Also, what is this? Slayography says, how many guys you all got? You all gonna have the same problems Cal will never learn.
Well, I just got added as the 11th, so I think we're fine there. But no, it's man, the reactions are weird. They have 11 guys. Well, I guess if you're assuming Knox is back, they have 11. But you'll have 8 that you're really thinking are going to play a ton for you. They're going to add guys to the back end like they always do. We'll probably hear about that in the next couple of weeks, like who the practice guys are going to be. Really, they could use one more, like really good piece added in there, whether that's Adou or somebody else in addition to Knox, and then they're in a great spot. Like it's not that big of a deal. It's just it's risky for them if they get Knox back and leave it at that for obvious reasons with depth and everything. But it's a hell of a group to have. I just assume they add one more really nice piece to that. Give yourself a little bit of flexibility. Take some pressure off of guys like Sealy and Rattel right away, and they'll be fine.
Real quick, we'll have some chats too before we end the show, but a few quick things. You guys see Isaiah Augustov, former Razorback running back, has I guess he was at Colorado and he's transferring. He was going to transfer to Virginia. Well, now he's decommitted from Virginia. So bring him home.
Once a hog, always a hog, baby.
Yep, let's go. Bring him home. So I saw that. I was like, golly.
I tell you, man, Hog fans are convinced that their running back room is loaded. I am not as convinced. So I think Hog fans probably aren't interested in him, but like.
Every time.
I would take him back. Maybe I was way too high on him. I know he had a couple good games his freshman year at the end. He's really good against Missouri. I think it was like FIU or somebody that he had a huge game against. And I really thought he was going to be like very much in the mix, coming into this past season.
Was he
probably would have been number 2 behind Jaquindon.
Yeah. I was going to ask, was he a spring transfer? I felt like he went through spring ball, didn't he?
He did. Cause he popped off in the spring game and we're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
They buried him in the spring. They had him like 5th on the day. He was running with threes. Like it didn't really make any sense. He didn't like tear it up at Colorado, but he had a few hundred yards. He'd probably be RB2 at Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, nobody should ever be like, if Isaiah Augustov came to or Augustov, however you say his name, but if he came back to Arkansas, I don't think any Razorback fans should be like, "What are we doing here?" Or I get so mad about it. It's like, no, it could probably help out, but
Everybody forgot about AJ Green. Yeah.
Yeah, they brought back AJ Green. You can bring back Augustov if you bring back AJ Green.
Is he still defensive back though, or linebacker? Or
He's running back.
Oh, he's running back all along. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I remember when that whole thing live reaction was like, yeah, he's coming back. But
I think he'll return kicks again. Didn't he do some of that?
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I could see him being in that mix.
Man, and talk about so much has changed. Like seeing AJ Green and Malik Hornsby against Texas in garbage time. I was like, oh, this is also the future of these guys, and that's how it goes.
What a time to be alive!
I tell you. A few other things. So it's still alive. But what do you guys think of the NFL trying to ban the tush push? Like it went through votes, and it's not banned, but there's still some trying of it. Do you guys are in favor or against, or do you even care about the tush push?
As I understand it, tush pushes are very controversial. I guess there's two sides to every argument. I don't care in this case. I don't care if they ban it. I don't care if it's allowed. I'm really not that bothered by it, but apparently a lot of people are.
Yeah, what I don't understand is like it's not like because the Eagles obviously are. If it gets ruined, if it gets banned, it's because of the Eagles. It's not like the Eagles are doing something that other teams can't do. In fact, they have like a 6 foot, 190-pound quarterback. Like there are a lot of teams that could do this. I have zero problem with them doing it. It's also something that you can only do in a specific situation.
Yeah,
it's not like something that changes the entire game.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know who's somebody who would love to see it banned? Dan Enos. Because a dude refused to do it for so long with KJ Jefferson whenever there was those short yard situations. But so yeah, that's happening. Also,
like 5 inches to go, back up 5 yards and take a direct snap, buddy.
Worked almost never. Like literally worked almost never. God, it's so dumb. I'm curious, how much do you guys actually pay attention to this Bill Belichick his girlfriend thing? Like every single day there's something new going on, it seems like, because the latest report was that apparently there was a cat fight between Jordan Hudson, Lyndon Holiday, and Massachusetts at the Nantucket Christmas event, which was Bill Belichick's ex. That you have that, and apparently now Mac Brown's coming out and saying, former North Carolina coach, that the one part of the commitment that UNC had to Bill Belichick was that they would lower their academic standards so that way he could get more players. And it's just like so much. I never would have dreamed so much would be coming out about Bill Belichick nonstop.
Well, mentioning academic standards in North Carolina in the same sentence is hilarious after they got busted for making up classes for their student athletes to take. So I don't know how much lower it can get for them to be able to get the players that they want. But I appreciate the Jordan Hudson. So I like the cat fight. She's passionate about her man. Andrew tells us to watch Love on the Spectrum because it's just pure, raw emotion, and it's beautiful. And I feel the same way about this. I mean, let these two be in love. Age is but a number. They look happy. I can't even do this. Never mind.
Listen, it's good for content. You're right about that. It is good for content. It's good for conversation. If I were a North Carolina fan, I'd probably hate it. But as a non-North Carolina fan, this is a tremendous saga.
Yeah, just imagine you're like people like us over there covering North Carolina football and everything, and you've had to turn into TMZ essentially like overnight talking about everything. Like, people are miserable over there. Like, just like, what are we doing here? Like, I was just trying to talk about the backup quarterback, and here I am, like my editor saying, "All right, Jim, you got to write this story about Jordan Hudson getting in a cat fight up there in Nantucket." It's like, I don't want to do this. I just want to write about the quarterback's position. That'd be pretty tough, but I don't know. I find it just hilarious because I've always hated Bill Belichick because as a terrible Jets fan, I've hated him. But I'm not upset by it, but it is still ridiculous every single day. Someone who's like so private too, so reserved about everything, finally have all this nonsense going on. I don't even know if he realizes what's going on, but also, I don't know if you guys ever watched it, but it was really sad. But George Wendt, Norm from Cheers, passed away yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever watched Cheers or anything like that.
I never got all the way through, but it was definitely one of those that would be on, and I'd just kind of casually have it on the background, but I never did the start to finish thing. I've been told that I should though. Yeah.
Well, it's crazy thinking back to that. I looked up a little bit of the show, which was great. It's like one of the all-time great sitcoms, but it's like it was 30-minute episodes roughly, but I think they did like 9, 10, 11 seasons, and every season was 26 episodes. Like just craziness. Like, could you imagine that now, where a sitcom or a show, not a reality show or anything, but like an actual show being 30, like essentially 13 hours every season, and there was 9 of it? Like, golly, it almost doesn't exist anymore. So
I never watched the show, but I always appreciate the concept of walking into a pub and everyone screaming your name.
Yep.
Like that's what I envy. That's what I want in life, is that.
Yeah. And it was great.
Well, next time we're out.
Yeah. Let's plant some seeds and have it to where if we take Andrew out, like he'll just walk into whatever local establishment with us and they'll be like, Andrew, and he'll be like, hey, you know, all that. But no, like what's funny is he'd always have some quip or joke every time they announced his name. And I still use one of them myself, where they asked him, it's like, how's it going, Mr. Peterson? He's like, it's a dog eat dog world and I'm wearing milk bone underwear. I'm like, that is true. Could not be more true in things, but good old fashioned dad jokes that go along with it as well.
I had 2 things for you guys real quick.
Yeah.
One, the over at CBS Sports, the 2025 college football coach rankings came out. There's 68 coaches. They did just the Power 4. I want you guys to guess where Sam Pittman was.
So out of 68, you said?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, 68 is Jeff Levy.
Wow. Dang.
I'll go 57, Curtis.
57 for Andrew.
I'll go 52.
It's 57.
Wow. Ooh. Nailed it. Nice.
Someone owes me $100.
He's 57. He's right ahead of Sharon Moore, actually. Sam Pittman is.
Wow, Sharon Moore's 58 on the list.
Yeah.
Don't tell Pooh Bear that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
So Levy is 68. Pittman is the next SEC coach, and then Bill Belichick is 54th. Clark Lee is 53rd. Brent Venables is 52nd. Hugh Freeze 47th. Billy Napier 45th. 36th is Mark Stoops. And then Mike Elko is 29th. Shane Beamer 28th. And it only goes to 26. Like they're going to release 25 through 1 tomorrow.
How long ago was it we did the conversation where we were talking about where Pittman ranks among SEC coaches? And we were like, you could maybe make an argument for 12 or 13, but you really couldn't go much higher. Looks like he's 15.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep. Just like what Arkansas is going to be picked at SEC Media Days this summer. They're going to be picked 15.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, the other thing I wanted to ask you, like, are you for or against Zakai Ziegler playing college basketball again next year? Are you
get a job, man?
Fries in the bag, or what are we doing
fries
here?
In the bag. This is an ultimate fries in the bag situation. Also, does Tennessee have a spot for him?
I guess it would be like him coming back, like Boogie coming back to Arkansas, though. You know what I mean? Like they've kind of recruited and filled some spots and stuff, but
that's kind of where I'm at. Like, do you think Tennessee's like waiting and they're like, oh, hopefully we can get Ziegler back? I can't imagine they are.
I cannot wait for Tennessee to say, hey, no, we can't accept you. And then Curtis is going to have to do a pot at the palace of why is Arkansas interested in Zakai Ziegler? Because everyone's going to be blowing him up with questions. Hey, he could come to Arkansas. Do you think he'd come to Arkansas?
Or I'm going to have to do I saw that. No, that doesn't mean anything for Jonas Adu or Nelly Davis. Kind of crazy. Oh, by the way, Andrew, the lawsuit that he's filing for it is filed in the same court as the dude that Tennessee couldn't get eligible under the same premise.
Good mojo.
What was his name for the dude from Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Baseball dude.
Tuna?
That's right. Yeah. Same court.
Yeah.
Seems like a good use of government resources to go through that.
They should list Zakai Ziegler on all the availability reports all year next year. Out. That's what they've been doing with this kid. I'm like, bro, of course he's out. He's 38.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they're spinning it, though. I guess I kind of understand, but basically saying that, like, if people get, injured or, if they redshirt because they stink or whatever, like technically they could have 5 years of earning potential with NIL. But because he was able to just play all 4 years and graduate, that he's kind of getting screwed out of a year of earning potential. So it's all NIL based. And he's basically saying I could make $3.5 to $4 million to come back to Tennessee next year. Should I have gotten hurt earlier that season? And that way I could get a red shirt, or it's all a convoluted mess, man.
Yeah, I saw that story yesterday and I just immediately cracked up laughing. I'm like, stop, go, leave. Just go do your thing, man. Let everybody else have. Well, I forgot who put it out. It may have been our boy Goodman, which made me cringe when he was just like, it's time to let some other freshmen have a chance at playing. I'm like, shut up.
Nobody
was
getting more triggered by these dudes with no eligibility hitting the portal than Goodman. He's been all over it, and I hate to agree with him, but
I know it's things I agree with, like it should, but not for the premise of like just why can't you just let the kids have some joy and play? Yeah. I'm like, shut up, gee, don't have to make it so stupid like that. But man, it's brutal. Also, you say I have another thing too. You guys know Tay Lockett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good kid, man. He's been committed to Razorbacks for a long time. He's, from San Diego, California. But either way, he's still committed to Arkansas. He's strong connection with the staff and everything. But UCLA is coming in hot trying to get him, and I'm like, UCLA has just become a thorn in Arkansas' side in football, man. It's crazy.
That's not a bold. Yeah. I'm just gonna be honest here, fellas. If you're an SEC school, UCLA should never be the thorn in anything. Like it should never be a competition. The two schools should never be mentioned in the same breath. SEC football, and we're dealing with UCLA taking all the play. I don't know. I'm not crazy about this. I don't like it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a rivalry with UCLA. That should not be your beef. You know what I mean? Like you should be above that.
Yeah, you should be. Should be. Also, I just want to throw this out there because Alia, who's a Kentucky fan, she said, "Don't get me wrong, I love my KSR, but I hope your guys' show gets more limelight. I would watch this over the Field of 68 any day of the week." Hey, thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's very nice.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's saying that you'd rather watch us than Field of 68. I don't know how much that's saying, but we'll roll with it. Yeah, we'll take the compliments.
Could have said I'd rather watch Field of 68 instead of you guys. So
it's true. Could have been the other way. Could have been the other way too. All right. Well, I guess that's about it. At least all the chats that I wanted to read. Guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
No, I think I'm good.
I just want to ask y'all one quick question. Have y'all been keeping up with the escaped convicts from New Orleans?
I have.
I have not.
They're getting them one by one. There's only a few left now. I think 4 left. And good luck to those guys as they try and survive. But there was 10 of them that escaped, and they're starting to get them one by one.
Yeah,
I was hoping it's like a Con Air situation where they stole a plane and they're trying to get to Mexico or something. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm sure that's not as cool. They're probably just hiding out in alleyways and trying to take homage. I've seen it, but I have not kept up with it. There's a lot of stuff to try to keep up with, man. Like going on in the daily.
This needs to be high on your priority list.
I'll work on that and make sure that it starts becoming that on my spot. So, but yeah, that'll do it for us, folks. Really appreciate each and every one of you who listening and watching into us here at Inside Arkansas. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page.
Right. Just saw a tweet that went out that said 2 more got caught. Is that new, or is it? How many are supposed to be? New. How many are supposed to be left? It just says update New Orleans prison break. 2 more prisoners have been caught. Oh, no, 5 remain on the run. Isn't that what we thought it was? Okay, sorry.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh man, I got excited for a second. Jermaine's still out there, so
I was like, Jermaine and Derek, I feel like are the 2 that I think have a chance to make it.
Right. Sorry, John, I got excited, man.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's again, I can't wait to see. They're going to come out with a documentary on this, or at least what is it, an adaptation? I think of like we'll have just some random actors in. I'm sure Pedro Pascal will be in it because he's in everything these days, and they'll just throw it in there. So I'll have to watch. I'll have to check the movie when it all happens. But either way, hey, but we do appreciate all of you watching and listening in. Subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. Check out all of our podcasts wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. And you can also check out our website for all the latest, greatest, up-to-date information on all things Razorback. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.